Before we start working in Flash, it's very important to understand the way Flash creates art. In this movie, we'll talk about Flash's native drawing format, how it works, and why Flash uses that method. If you're following along, you can open up bitmap_vs_vector.swift in the Chapter 2 folder in the Exercise Files folder. Flash's native drawing format is a format called vector graphics. Vector graphics are drawn with lines and shapes, rather than with pixels, like bitmap graphics. An example of a program whose native data format is bitmap graphics is Adobe Photoshop. To understand the difference between bitmap graphics and vector graphics, we have an example here. On the screen there are two circles. At first glance, they may appear pretty similar, but if we drag this slider at the bottom of the screen, notice the circle on the left, zoomed in, becomes somewhat pixelated or blocky, while the circle on the left remains smooth. So bitmap drawing programs like Adobe Photoshop are meant for working with bitmap graphics, which are drawn with pixels. Vector drawing programs like Flash draw shapes with lines. Not only are shapes drawn with lines in vector graphics, but they're drawn using mathematical formulas. So scaling a shape up or down doesn't affect the outline of a shape or any of the art inside of the shape. The reason why Flash uses vector graphics, because vector graphics give you a very small file size, which is great for putting content on the web. And even though Flash's native drawing format is vector graphics, so all the content we'll create in Flash will be drawn using vector graphics. Any content that we want to have in a Flash animation that uses bitmap graphics will have to be imported. We'll talk about all of this throughout this title. Now that you understand the difference between bitmap graphics and vector graphics, let's start learning a little bit more about Flash.